There comes a moment in every life when a person stands at the edge of two possibilities. One path leads back to everything familiar, comfort, ease, stagnation. The other demands something radical, the destruction of everything weak within them. There was a man once, brilliant yet broken. He had lost his wealth, his family, his reputation. Everything he had built was reduced to dust. Most would have crumbled, surrendered to self-pity, convinced themselves that fate had betrayed them. But he refused. He didn't pray for rescue. He didn't hope for a second chance. He did something far more terrifying. He killed the version of himself that had led him here. Not in a moment of rage, not in an act of desperation, but in an intentional, methodical execution. He identified the thoughts that made him weak. He hunted down the habits that kept him small. He severed ties with the excuses that had once soothed him. What emerged was not a new man, but the man he was always meant to be. This isn't just his story, it's yours. You are standing on that same edge, whether you recognize it or not. And the choice before you is the same. Stay shackled to a version of yourself that has already failed you, or kill it and become something unstoppable. This is not just another video telling you to work harder or believe in yourself. You've heard all that before. And yet, here you are, still fighting the same battles, still repeating the same cycles. This isn't about motivation. It's about war. A war between who you are and who you could be. A war that only ends when you make a choice. Eliminate every part of you that keeps you weak. By the end of this, you won't just know what to do. You'll feel it in your bones. But fair warning, this is not for those who want change without sacrifice. If you're not willing to let go of the version of yourself that's holding you back, this won't work for you. However, if you're ready to take control, if you're ready to execute the old you and unleash something far more powerful, then stay with me. Because what you're about to learn will either reshape your future or leave you exactly where you are right now. The lie of comfort. Why your brain tricks you into avoiding discomfort. The mind is cunning. It doesn't work against you with open hostility. It seduces you with comfort. It whispers justifications, lulls you into inaction, and convinces you that avoiding discomfort is the same as protecting yourself. But this is the greatest lie you will ever believe. Your brain is hardwired for survival, not greatness. It doesn't care if you remain weak, undisciplined, or stagnant. It only cares that you stay safe. And what is safety in the modern world? Predictability, the absence of challenge, a routine that asks nothing of you beyond what you already know. This is why you hesitate when an opportunity arises that demands more from you. This is why you tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," when it's time to break a bad habit. Your brain isn't working against you maliciously. It's simply doing what it has been programmed to do. But here's what you must understand. Comfort is not your ally. It is the silent executioner of potential. It robs you of urgency. It dulls your ambition. It suffocates the hunger that could push you beyond your limits. The ancient Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." Tomorrow is the lie of the weak. The strong understand that comfort is not something to seek. It is something to destroy. They train themselves to endure, to push beyond the instinct to retreat. They do not wait until they feel ready, because they know that feeling will never come. And so, the first step to killing the weak version of yourself is recognizing the enemy within, the part of you that would rather stay comfortable than grow. The symptoms of weakness: procrastination, self-doubt, Excuses. Weakness does not announce itself with a grand display. It seeps into your life like water through a crack, unnoticed until the foundation collapses. It disguises itself in habits so small, so seemingly insignificant, that you fail to recognize them as threats. But if left unchecked, these habits become your identity. The three most insidious symptoms of weakness are: 1. Procrastination, the art of self-sabotage disguised as logic. I'll do it later. I just need to be in the right mood. Now isn't the perfect time. Every delay is a debt you owe to your future self, and the interest is brutal. 2. Self-doubt, the invisible leash that keeps you from stepping into your potential. What if I fail? What will people think? Maybe I'm not good enough. This is fear masquerading as rationality. But here's the truth. You are not unworthy. You are simply untrained. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is the result of action. 3. Excuses. The lies you tell yourself to justify your weakness. I don't have enough time. I'm too old, too young, too busy, too tired. It's just who I am. Weakness survives on excuses. The strong reject them without negotiation. Each of these symptoms is a weapon your weak self uses to keep you imprisoned, and until you recognize them for what they are, nothing more than chains, you will remain bound. Seneca on self-mastery. A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Seneca warned against a common trap of the undisciplined mind: imaginary suffering. The weak version of you does not just fear real challenges, it fabricates them. It plays out worst-case scenarios in your head. It convinces you that failure will be catastrophic. It makes you hesitate, not because the task is impossible, but because you've been trained to suffer in your mind before you ever suffer in reality. Seneca's words cut through this illusion. A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Fear, doubt, hesitation, these are self-inflicted wounds. You bleed over possibilities that do not exist. You create obstacles in your mind that are larger than the ones in reality. The solution? Action. The moment you take the first step, you realize something profound. The challenge is never as daunting as you imagined. The pain is never as unbearable as you feared. The growth is always worth more than the comfort you left behind. This is how the weak version of yourself dies, not with a single moment of inspiration, but with the slow, deliberate execution of every lie, every hesitation, every excuse. Recognizing weakness is only the beginning. Now comes the part most people will never face, the execution. The next chapter is not about theory. It is about ruthless action. If you are ready to sever every tie to the old you, then keep going. But if you are not, stop here, because what comes next will demand more from you than you have ever given before. The identity shift. Stop saying, I want to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. The most powerful transformation begins with language. Weakness thrives in the words, I want to. It implies distance between you and the trait you desire. It suggests that discipline, strength, and resilience are things you must chase, things you do not yet own. But the disciplined do not want to be disciplined. They are disciplined. The shift is simple, but its impact is profound. Instead of, I want to wake up early, say, I wake up early. Instead of, I'm trying to be more focused, say, I am focused. The mind conforms to identity. If you see yourself as undisciplined, your actions will follow. If you see yourself as someone who procrastinates, you will continue to procrastinate. But the moment you adopt discipline as an unchangeable identity, your brain will work to maintain that reality. Every action, every choice will begin aligning with that self-image. The weak wait until they feel disciplined. The strong declare it and act accordingly. The moment you remove hesitation from your identity, you become unstoppable. The 3-minute rule. If a task takes less than 3 minutes, do it immediately, eliminating hesitation. Hesitation is the breeding ground of weakness. The longer you think about doing something, the less likely you are to do it. And yet, most of the tasks we procrastinate on take less than 3 minutes to complete. Replying to a message, washing a dish, sending that email, making your bed, writing down an idea. These small actions seem insignificant, but they compound into a mindset. If you train yourself to delay small tasks, you train yourself to delay everything. The 3-minute rule is simple. If something takes less than 3 minutes, do it now. This eliminates the habit of hesitation. It strengthens the connection between intention and action. And most importantly, it conditions your mind to reject delay instinctively. Over time, this extends beyond 3-minute tasks. You become someone who acts without negotiation, someone who sees an opportunity and moves, rather than waiting for a perfect moment that will never come. The weak hesitate, the strong execute. Mental toughness. Hack. Practicing voluntary discomfort. Discomfort is inevitable. The question is, will you wait for it to happen to you, or will you seek it out and train yourself to thrive in it? Weakness is the result of a life spent avoiding discomfort. The mind and body soften, become fragile, and break under pressure. The strong condition themselves for hardship before it arrives. 2 powerful ways to do this. 1. Cold showers, fasting, hard workouts. Cold showers. Teach your body to embrace discomfort instead of resisting it. Fasting. Trains discipline over impulse and proves you control your desires. Hard workouts. Condition the mind to push beyond perceived limits. These are not about physical benefits alone. They are about proving to yourself that you can endure discomfort voluntarily. 2. Negative visualization. What if I lost everything today? What if you lost your job? What if you had no money? What if you were stripped of all comfort? The Stoics practiced negative visualization not to create anxiety, but to build mental resilience. By contemplating worst-case scenarios, they trained their minds to be prepared for anything. The result? Fear loses its grip. You realize that even if you lost everything, you would still survive. You would still adapt. You would still rebuild. The weak fear discomfort and avoid it. The strong seek discomfort and become immune to it. Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Everything external, circumstances, setbacks, the opinions of others, is out of your control. But your mind? That is yours. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He ruled an empire, faced betrayal, war and hardship, yet remained unshaken. Why? Because he never wasted energy on what he could not control. The weak dwell on what they cannot change. The strong master what they can. You do not control the obstacles in your path. You control how you respond to them. You do not control whether today is easy or difficult. You control whether you face it with strength or weakness. You do not control how others treat you. You control whether their actions define you. When you embrace this truth, you become untouchable. No external force can break you because your strength comes from within. At this point, most people will turn back. They will say they want change, but refuse to execute it ruthlessly. The next chapter is not just about change, it is about permanent transformation. The death of the weak self is not symbolic, it is absolute, and once it happens, there is no going back. Are you ready to sever every tie to your old identity? Then continue. If not, stop here, because what comes next will demand more from you than you have ever given before. Transformation is not a gradual shift, it is a death and rebirth. You cannot carry your old self into your new life. The weak version of you, the one full of excuses, hesitation, and fear, must die. And like all deaths, this must be final. This chapter is not about motivation, it is about execution. If you do not commit fully, stop now. But if you are ready to eliminate the weak self permanently, then proceed. The ritual of death, writing down the version of yourself you're leaving behind. Every great transformation begins with a funeral. You are about to kill the version of you that has kept you stuck. But before you do, you must identify it in brutal detail. Take out a piece of paper. At the top, write, "The weak version of me is dead." Then list every trait, behavior, and habit that belongs to that person. The procrastinator who waits for motivation. The person who makes excuses instead of taking action. The one who sleeps in and skips workouts. The one who says, "I'll do it tomorrow," but never does. The one who avoids discomfort and stays inside their comfort zone. Write everything. Expose the weakness. Once you finish, read it aloud, and then destroy it, burn it, tear it up, throw it away. It does not matter how, but it must be symbolic, because from this moment forward, that version of you no longer exists. The weak self is dead. The 24-hour rebirth experiment. Acting as the new version of yourself for one full day. Most people fail to change because they overthink. They wonder, how do I start? What if I fail? What if I go back to my old habits? Stop thinking, start doing. For the next 24 hours, you will act as the strongest version of yourself. No hesitation, no negotiation. Ask yourself, how does the strongest version of me wake up? What does the strongest version of me eat? How does the strongest version of me respond to challenges? Then, live as if you are already that person. For just one day, operate at your highest level. Push yourself harder than you ever have before. No excuses, no half measures. And at the end of the day, reflect. You will realize something shocking. You did not need more time, more motivation, or more preparation to change. You just needed to decide. If you could do it for one day, you can do it for a lifetime. Destroying the safety net. How burning the boats forces unstoppable action. Weakness survives because of escape routes. The weak always leave themselves an option to return to their old ways. If this doesn't work, I'll just go back to what's comfortable. I'll try for a bit, but if it's too hard, I can always stop. This is why they never change. The strong burn their boats. They remove every path that leads back to their old selves, leaving them no choice but to move forward. If you're serious about quitting a bad habit, make it impossible to return. Delete the app. Throw out the junk food. Cut off access to distractions. If you want to start a new discipline, make it your only option. Sign up. Commit publicly. Make failure embarrassing. If you want to build a new identity, eliminate everything that ties you to the old one. There is no retreat, no way back. When you burn the boats, you have only two options: succeed or die trying, and that is why the strong always win. Epictetus. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus did not believe in waiting for inspiration. He did not believe in hesitation. He believed in deciding who you are and acting accordingly. First, define who you will become. Then, do everything necessary to make that identity real. This is not about setting goals. This is not about making plans. This is about becoming. Your transformation is not in the future. It begins now. The old you is gone. The new you has already taken its place. You have killed the weak self. But now comes the true challenge: maintaining this new identity for life. Most people relapse. They fall back into old patterns. That will not be you. The next chapter will ensure you never break, never surrender, and never return to weakness again. Are you ready? Then continue. You have eliminated the weak version of yourself. But killing weakness is not enough. You must now forge a mind that cannot be broken. Most people relapse. They start strong but eventually fall back into old patterns. That will not be you. This chapter is about building a mindset so unshakable that no setback, failure, or hardship can stop you. Discipline will replace motivation. Growth will become your only standard. And fear, it will no longer control you. This is where the true transformation begins. The discipline over motivation formula. Motivation is a lie. It's temporary, unreliable, and fragile. How many times have you felt inspired to change, only to lose that drive within days? The strongest minds do not rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline is what makes you act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when you'd rather hit snooze. Discipline is what makes you do the work, even on your worst days. The formula is simple. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates discipline. Discipline sustains success. Instead of waiting to feel like it, act first. Don't feel like working out? Do it anyway. Don't feel like working on your goals? Do it anyway. Don't feel like pushing yourself today? Do it anyway. Every time you act despite your feelings, you weaken the power of hesitation and strengthen the power of self-control. This is the difference between those who talk about change and those who become unbreakable. The 1% rule, small daily improvements that lead to massive transformation. Most people fail because they aim for radical change overnight. They try to overhaul their entire life in a week, get overwhelmed and quit. But true strength is built gradually. The 1% rule is simple. Every single day, improve by just 1%, 1% stronger. Push yourself a little harder in your workouts, 1% smarter. Read one page, learn one new concept, 1% more disciplined. Say no to one small temptation. Over time, this compounds into unstoppable momentum. 1% better every day for a year equals 37 times better than when you started. 1% worse every day for a year equals near total failure. Your habits are shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are they shaping you into someone strong or someone weak? Make your choice. Using Memento Mori to overcome fear. Fear is the greatest obstacle to greatness. It paralyzes you. makes you hesitate, and stops you from taking risks. The Stoics had a simple yet powerful method to destroy fear: Memento Mori. You could leave life right now. This is not morbid, it is liberating. Because once you accept that death is inevitable, fear loses its grip. Think about it. Afraid to take a risk? You will die anyway. So why not go all in? Worried about failure? None of it will matter when you're gone. So why hold back? Scared of judgment? Everyone who could judge you will also be gone one day. So why care? The strongest minds understand that life is short. Every moment wasted in fear is a moment lost forever. The weak hesitate, the strong act. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I still be afraid? If the answer is no, then you already know what you must do. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, lived with this phrase constantly in his mind. You could leave life right now. It was not a warning. It was a guide. Every decision, every action, every word should be worthy of your last day on earth. If this were your final moment, would you still make excuses? Would you still waste time on distractions? Would you still allow fear to stop you? Or would you step into your true potential with nothing held back? The weak ignore this truth. The strong live by it. And because of that, the strong leave behind legacies that last for centuries. You now have the mindset. But mindset alone is nothing without action. The next chapter will push you to attack life with warlike intensity. Because the strongest minds are not just disciplined, they are relentless. If you are ready to move beyond theory and start dominating life, continue. You've come this far. You've recognized your weaknesses, conquered your mind, and killed the old version of yourself. You've learned how to forge an unbreakable mindset. But all of it means nothing if you don't carry it forward into every moment of your life. This final chapter is about living as your strongest self, every single day. There's no going back. Weakness can no longer be an option. This is about embracing the new you and ensuring you never return to the grave of who you used to be. Setting non-negotiables, the daily habits that keep you sharp. At this stage, you cannot afford to live without structure. If you let your habits slip, you invite weakness back into your life. The strongest people in history, from ancient Stoics to modern warriors, all had one thing in common. They built lives defined by non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are daily habits and rules that you will not compromise on, no matter what. These habits are the foundation of your strength and success. They are what separate you from the weak. Here are a few examples. Daily physical exercise, whether it's a hard workout or even just a walk. Your body must be tested every day. Morning reflection or journaling. The Stoics knew the power of self-reflection. Every morning, spend a few minutes evaluating your progress. Consistent learning. Read something that challenges you, that sharpens your mind. Setting and reviewing your goals. Know exactly what you're working towards every day. Never let a day pass without moving toward your objectives. These aren't optional. They are non-negotiable. Because the minute you allow yourself to compromise on these, you invite weakness to creep back in. And you've already killed that version of yourself. Don't ever resurrect it. Surrounding yourself with lions, not sheep. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look around you. Are you surrounded by lions or sheep? Lions are those who push you forward, challenge you, and hold you to a higher standard. They demand excellence from you, just as you do from yourself. Sheep are those who pull you down, make excuses, and indulge in weakness. They want you to stay mediocre because your strength makes them uncomfortable. From now on, your circle must be filled with lions. Seek out people who push you to grow, those who challenge your ideas, your work ethic, your mindset. Cut out the dead weight. If someone brings nothing but excuses, negativity, and doubt into your life, it's time to let them go. Find mentors and leaders who have already achieved what you aspire to. Learn from those who have walked the path of strength before you. Because a strong mind cannot thrive in a weak environment. It will suffocate. Remember, if you surround yourself with lions, you will become a lion. If you stay with sheep, you will never escape the herd. The version of you watching this video is already dead. Here's the truth. The version of you that started this journey no longer exists. You've already killed them. But the question is, will you step into your new identity, or will you stay in the grave of your past self? Right now, you stand at the edge. You can either fall back into the old patterns, the old habits, the old ways of thinking, or you can step forward into your strongest self. The choice is yours. But make no mistake, there is no going back, no more excuses, no more hesitation, no more fear. From this moment on, you live as the strongest version of yourself. Every day, every moment, every decision, you choose strength. You've learned the principles of Stoic philosophy, applied them to destroy your weaknesses, and now stand ready to live as the warrior you were always meant to be. But remember, this journey never ends. There will always be new challenges, new tests of your strength. But as long as you hold on to the principles you've learned here, you will never falter. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the life you were meant to live. Now go out and live it with relentless strength and unshakable purpose.